Welcome to another edition of Hot Button. Now, last week we chatted about your pet peeves when it comes to office etiquette, and if you want to check out that conversation, it's available on our website. So moving on this week, and actually literally moving on, we're going to chat about commutes. So we asked you guys what your commute times were and how much or how long is too long. So on Twitter, @Ian Pepin says his commute is 7 minutes, and yes, it's worth it.
Lucky.
He would travel up to 30 minutes if he had to. Now, @BWM2012 says, what if you freelance and work all over the world? I guess your commute could be quite long. And does that qualify as commuting to work? Well, I guess it is if that's your work.
Take a plane or a train or whatever.
For sure. And on Facebook, Travel the Canyon says when they were younger, they drove from Vancouver to Hell's Gate Air Tram every day for 2 years.
It's got to be almost 200 kilometers.
Now they live and work in Hope, so the commute to work is about 5 minutes, and it was all worth it in the end. I'm guessing the moving to Hope was worth it because I live in Surrey and I drive about 55 minutes one way, about 78 kilometers per day, so I do it twice a day, every weekday, and some weekends.
Wow.
And yeah, it takes up a lot of your time.
I can imagine. Well, according to Statistics Canada, commuters spend an average of 63 minutes a day making a round trip from their place of residence to their workplace.
Round trip, so about half hour each way.
Exactly. Now, me personally, I relied solely on public transportation until I was 25 years old.
Really?
Yeah, that being said, I was living in big urban centers most of the time where public transportation was a viable option, and a lot of the times it was cheaper or faster to do so. For example, I lived in North Van and I had to get to work in downtown Vancouver. It was much faster to take the 12-minute sea bus ride across the water as opposed to trying to fight my way through traffic driving the Lionsgate Bridge or the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge.
Exactly, and how much does that take of your life, sitting in traffic, even the long commutes, that sort of thing? But like you said, you've lived in a lot of big urban centers. Well, here in the Valley, you know, Canada's quite spread out, BC's spread out, and if you live in suburbia, like I grew up in the Valley here, everything is so spread out, it's so far apart. I know people that take the bus even from Agassiz to Chilliwack, and that's a headache because if you miss one, you're waiting till the end of the day for another ride.
That's it, exactly. And I actually do, live here now in Cultus Lake, and it still takes me a half an hour to get from Cultus Lake to downtown Chilliwack. So
And it's much shorter distance.
Exactly, I know. Now, the tricky thing here is we don't really have the option to say, bike to work, right?
I mean, heck no.
Bike
to work, see you in 5 hours.
It'd be nice to have that option in the summertime to bike to work, but it's not really feasible for us who live in the Fraser Valley. Unless you are like our friend who lives 7 minutes away, then maybe biking to work is an option.
When the weather's fair.
Okay, so a lot of things I think we've maybe noticed is that people are not moving to the cities they work in, they're commuting to the cities they work in.
That's very true. Our generation, I think this generation, when you get a job in a city, you don't necessarily move to that city, you sort of commute to that city instead. You get the job, you commute to it. That's what happened to me, and I know that's happened with a lot of people that have gotten jobs recently.
They can't afford to live in a big urban center or something like that.
Of course not. No, you have to live where you can and then you work where you can.
Okay, so do you commute to an urban center? How much time do you spend per day commuting? How far is too far? Tell us about it. You can connect with us on Twitter or Facebook, and on the next episode of Hot Button, we'll revisit your comments.